A large model Showman'S engine. This is part 5, repairing the paintwork and looking at the Foster type mechanical lubricator. Before I start though, time for a quick run. My workshop compressor is quite feeble and cannot provide enough air to operate this engine, so to cheat a little bit I've speeded up the video. But very soon I will be running this outside in the garden as soon as I get some coal, because when Simon delivered the engine he forgot my free bag of coal. It's probably a good thing though, because with a bag of coal I would automatically go into a play with the traction engine mode. This is a shot of the flywheel, and as you can see the rim is now quite clean, but there's still some damage to the paintwork inboard of the rim, and this will require an entirely different treatment. I'm not going to remove the paint. I will very carefully fill the damaged areas using some cellulose stopper and then rub it down and paint it. I'm doing some more work on the belly tank, but I still need to tidy up some of the red paintwork around the yellow line to make it look more solid. I couldn't help but notice that quite a lot of paint is missing from the heads of the rivets, which is hardly surprising. I'm applying a second coat of Crimson Lake paint to this area, which was quite badly damaged. And now the chipped paint in this area is looking not so chipped anymore. By repeatedly depositing paint in the chipped area, I'll be able to rub down the area with some wet to dry sandpaper and the paint repair will be complete. Moving up to the top part of the engine, here's the Foster lubricator. This lubricator is doing its job so well it could do with a bigger tank above it for the amount of oil that it's using. The lubricator is driven off the valve rod, and as the valve rod moves in and out, it's moving the lubricator quite a long way. For every revolution of the crankshaft, I would normally set a lubricator like this to just skip one tooth on the wheel. As this is a large engine, the valve rod is travelling quite a long way on every revolution, and as you can see in this clip, the pawl is skipping the ratchet by about 4 teeth. Before I rush into this job and change the mechanical aspect of how far the rod travels, I'm going to attempt to adjust the level of the oil flow by adjusting the part of the lubricator that controls the amount of oil that it delivers. The first thing to do is to remove the pipe from the end of it. And you have to be careful because inside this fitting is a spring and a small ball. In this clip I've removed the oil feed pipe from the cylinder and temporarily plugged the hole up using a 1/4x40 union nut on a piece of pipe that's bent over. And now I can monitor how much oil is coming out of this pipe for each revolution. Here you can see that the piston assembly is about 4 threads out from the lock nut. At this stage I haven't yet changed the setting, so this is just as the engine was running. This next clip shows how much oil is pumped into the cylinder. There is far too much oil being fed to the cylinder. After I changed the setting by slackening the lock nut, this is what happened, and I think this is not enough oil. I messed about with the position of the pump cylinder quite a few times, but with the pump on the engine it was really quite difficult to get to it. The position of this pump assembly is critical. Screw it too far in and you don't get any oil at all, screw it too far out and you get a flood. I refitted the oil pipe, and as you can see there are only about 2 threads showing past the lock nut as I've screwed the pump assembly in a bit. I've reconnected the oil pipe to the cylinder, so now once again the cylinder is getting some lubrication. This engine runs very well in both directions. The valve timing is very good, although really, if I'm perfectly honest, the admission is not early. I think though, for the moment I'm going to leave this aspect alone. I definitely do not want to go into valve timing obsess mode at this stage. There's still quite a lot to do. As can clearly be seen in this clip, the paintwork on the lubricator and the linkages is very poor. As the lubricator and its linkage is a very visible part of this engine, I've removed it from the engine. It's also going to be much easier to adjust the oil flow of the pump when it's in my hand, rather than being in the fairly inaccessible place on top of the cylinder, surrounded by other bits and pieces. While the pump is upside down on top of the oil bottle, you can clearly see the small spring that holds the ball valve in place. Before doing any work on the pump, I removed the spring and the ball and put them in a safe place. And now it's fun time. I place the lubricator in a polythene tub and I'm pouring onto it cellulose thinners or lacquer thinner. Now I don't need to do very much. I just need to wait until the cellulose thinner attacks the paint, and then that will make it very easy to remove. I sat and looked at the lubricator for a while in the tub of cellulose thinner. Oh yes, and I forgot to mention, you must do this in a very well ventilated area. After a while though, I couldn't resist. I wanted to help the job along. So here I'm using my electric toothbrush to remove the paint, which is already just falling off the lubricator. And this is only after being submerged in the cellulose thinner for around 10 minutes. Electric toothbrushes are a really good idea for removing paint. This toothbrush I don't think is much good anymore for cleaning my teeth. In any case, I don't use an electric toothbrush, I have a manual one. That's about it for this episode. I'll just leave you with this shot of the pump submerged in the cellulose thinner. And once again, in these very strange lockdown times, I'd just like to say, make sure that you stay safe, stay well. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my Mainsteam Models website. Click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you will find it very easy to find other videos that you may like to watch.